organizations are not static things, but they are these social constructions that are about these valid agreements. And as I'm already trying to point out, so they are changing, evolving every day. Everywhere in the system, somebody can change them, which is also very important to believe that it's not out of us and it's not untouchable. And to develop this can be more of an effort that we align these agreements or we create new agreements with awareness around them. So what is it that we want to achieve? Obviously, fulfilling the purpose of the organization and the strategic goals. So every organization is about the business. So this is, it comes back to the what is the work we need to do and how we are going to do that work. So in the traditional approaches, it's always starting with some sort of as-is analysis or diagnosis or understanding what is not working, and we're trying to fix that is not working. Now, in solution-focused organization development and design, we don't do that. So this is a little bit like in solution-focused terms, we say that we start with the end. And the end is not a far, far end, but more an end or a next level on our scale or in our evolution as a company. And then in solution-focused or with the solution-focused approach, then we look back into the system and start searching for what is already there. That, oh, we've actually did this once. We're not doing it anymore, but somebody tried it once. And it worked quite well. So how did we do that then? So suddenly things that might have been just occasional, accidental, or as I often call it in big companies especially, you have things flying under the radar. They might become the forerunners of this preferred future. They might become the things that suddenly the system, the group, the people realize that, oh, we're capable of doing this because we've already done something like that. To have the external consultants coming in, doing the diagnosis of your company, coming up with some potential suggestions, it's usually the fastest ones are around 6 months. And to implement it is another year and a half. I mean, who has time for that? Yeah, seriously.
That's right.
And when you work, maybe you move the system in smaller steps, but it's moving right away and it's moving with a lot of energy.
Yep.
So then, one, change is becoming fun. And two, there's energy in it, so it's happening. So you're not forcing the system or something on the system, but you're creating the change together. And of course, from this assumption comes that most of the time solution-focused OD practitioners will be more likely to invite the organization to involve more people into the creating the content than, for example, just the top management. So you have more participatory processes. I mean, let me just kind of compare two examples where I was part of both stories. One is a top-down, initiated by the board, having the very professional, very expensive consultancy firm arriving into the company. You know, people usually say, "Oh, the expensive suits arrived." Yeah, so that's sort of kind of just to describe the feeling that we know what we're talking about. Defining how the transformation is going to go, what will be in the scope. We're not going to do everything, but we do 3 rounds. But the first round is. So everything is kind of top down. There's involvement of people, so it's wonderful because there's a group of specialists from each affected area involved. So there it didn't happen. and that comes the comparison, another telco company, where they said, we don't want to kind of go like a regiment marching into Agile. So they've invited me, and I had this opportunity to have a great conversation about how would they notice that they are Agile already. And based on that, we had a look of what's already there. And they already had one team quite far advanced and two other teams already experimenting with some Agile practices. So we agreed that, hey, why don't we focus on the ones who are already kind of 2 steps ahead of the others and maybe support them a little bit more. And if they are delivering results, they were internal IT. So the customers are inside the company. They will see the difference. So if there are results, then others might get even more interested in how they are doing and copying it. So instead of going top down, we've actually found where there was already energy in this topic, where there was already a project manager who wanted to make this happen and successful, and using only solution-focused tools, so only imagining together how is it going to look like when in 3 months we got, and this is, I said, it's not a kind of an empty marketing promise. In 3 months, we got to the point where they were already working like what they imagined in the beginning, how they would want to work like when they are Agile. And in that 3 months, they also learned how they did it by themselves. So my job was done, because you don't need the external person anymore.
I'm just curious. For example, for certain leaders out there who are like very tough, maybe they came from a different background, and they will look at you and say, Elvira, isn't that like, too wimpy? They always talk about all this nice stuff, but are we going to talk about the difficult stuff, the stuff that doesn't work? When are we going to talk about it? Because it seems that we're always talking about all the good things. How will you respond to them?